So this is our second recording related to data loading. The previous recording we talked about loading person and user data, and this is a follow-up load related to that data, and it's for person groups. So I'm in my Start Center, the Getting Started Start Center, in the data loading portlet. I'm going to select person groups. And when I look at this list, Fundamentals has predefined person groups. And these are basically go hand in hand with the predefined security groups. Person groups at this point are used to support sending emails to different users, and we anticipate other uses for person groups going forward. So what I have here is, you can see the first 5 person groups are defined and they have a default user. One user is a default, in this case it's max admin. So each group can have many people or persons in the group, and what we're going to do is show data loading to put additional users into some of these groups here. So if I jump over to our sample spreadsheet, similar to person and users, we have a similar spreadsheet for person groups. And what you can see in the first column is the person groups that are predefined, and then you can see in columns C and D is the responsible party field, which is the field that identifies the user or the person. So if I jump to the instructions tab, here it gives you information about loading this data. It's relatively simple compared to the person user. There's a limited set of fields. You basically load a person, identify what group they're going into, whether they're the default for the group, and there's only one default within a group, and then you identify the person itself, and the same person goes into 2 different fields, responsible party and responsible party group, and then you have to give a unique sequence number. Once you do that, you're ready to load. As you can see here in the list, I have a unique identifier on the right. I've made them all the default, and in this case, I'm putting only one user in each group. You can have many rows here where 3 people go into 3 different groups, or 3 people go in the same group, and 1 person can go in many groups. On an earlier discussion, we talked about if a person plays many roles in the system, we would put that person in many security groups, multiple security groups, and likewise you do the same with person groups. So if there's one user that plays multiple roles, we suggest you put them in multiple security groups, and then likewise align that user into the same corresponding person groups. So once you've established your data in the first tab of the spreadsheet, you save the data, and then you do a save as, and you save it under a type of CSV. So just as a reminder, you manage the data in the .xls file within Excel, but when you go to load the data, you're loading the data from the .csv. So you always open the XLS file, updates there, save it, and then do a save as to CSV. So let me jump back to the application, and I'm going to, again, the same action, application import. I'll go in, I'll pick the person group CSV file that I just created, and I'll import it. And what you can see on this tab on the list here is that my load basically changed. It loaded these users to the group, but it also changed the default. So on this list, the default is no longer max admin. So if I go into this group plus JINI, the request initiator group, you can see max admin and Phyllis R are both there, with Phyllis R being defined as the group default.